All of the classes that I teach are always modified to your ability, but please make sure you're practicing safely, so with some water, on a chair, next to a wall, whatever you need to make sure that your practice can be the best that it can be and the most grounded and suitable for you. Today we're going to be working on yoga specifically for obesity. So I'm going to be talking a little bit around yoga, our practice, and what affects obesity as well. And we're going to be splitting this into 2 parts. So part 1 is today. Let's get started. I don't need to tell you that obesity is going to affect lots of different areas of your life. It's going to increase the risk of getting diabetes, heart problems, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, knee pain, and any other joint pain as well. So it's really important for us to make sure that we're trying to stay healthy the best way that we can. Yoga is a great way for us to do this because it's very low impact and we just use body weight, so we're not putting too much pressure onto our bodies. We're really just working with our limitations, and that's why I always say to you, get rid of that ego in your brain and listen to your body and really listen to what your body wants. So specifically with yoga, there's a lot of exercises that we can do that activate our chakras. If you haven't heard about our chakras, I'll just to give you a quick rundown later on, because they are directly related to our endocrine glands. And that is a system that regulates our hormones in our bodies that helps reproductive organs, that helps our digestion, helps growth, all of these things. And it has been found that people with obesity or more of likelihood to get obese do have a lack of or not such a great working endocrine system. So we want to make sure that in our yoga practice we're really working on activating all of those areas. Another thing you might want to look into is Ayurveda. Ayurveda is the sister science of yoga. If you haven't heard of it already, I'm not going to be going into too much detail, but it'd be really interesting for you to have a bit of a Google after, because there's different types of bodies essentially, and there's a couple of the doshas that describe how our bodies are and what works in our bodies food-wise. And these doshas are more likely to be obese. So if you find out what your dosha is, and that tends to be kind of if you're sweaty, if you're a hot person, if you're quick to anger, things like this, it will discuss. And finding out what your dosha is will tell you what kind of food your body really works well with digesting, and that can help you also start to manage your obesity, or if you're starting to get to that point where you know that you need to look into it a little bit more, but a traditional diet or things like this just don't work. And who wants to go on a diet anyway? It's not very healthy. We just want to eat well, right? So that's a little bit of information around how yoga can help obesity, things to look into. In today's class though, and the next part, so part 2, we're going to be thinking specifically about our chakras and how they relate to our chakras and how they relate to our endocrine glands. So let's quickly go through them. So we've got our root chakra that is directly related to our adrenal glands. We've then got our sacral chakra, and that is related to reproductive glands. Our solar plexus is related to our pancreas. Our heart chakra is related to our thymus. Our throat chakra is related to our thyroid. Our third eye is related to our pituitary gland. And the 7th chakra is related to our pineal gland. So we can activate all of these chakras and help regulate these glands through different yoga poses that we're going to be doing today and next time as well. And I urge you to go and find out more about balancing your chakras, because it's super interesting just generally, and also it might teach you a little bit about how you're living your life and different imbalances as well. So let's get started with our class. If you haven't already guessed, we're going to be practicing in our chair for the whole of this class. The other thing you might want to grab is a tie or a yoga strap, a belt, scarf, something that is going to help you grab those limbs if you need. So we're going to be working from the root all the way up to the crown chakra, working on yoga poses to specifically target each of our glands in the endocrine system and working towards balancing that system out, helping our obesity and helping to reduce it as well. Okay, so everybody get into your chair, grounding your feet onto the floor, closing down your eyes, hands onto your thighs, palms facing up. Breathing in through your nose, out through your nose. Think about your feet grounding into the floor. That groundedness moving all the way up your legs to the tailbone. And starting to feel space in between your vertebrae with every inhale, sitting up nice and tall. Until you reach the crown of the head and the crown of the head reaches up high. Exhaling any tension, any unwanted feelings and thoughts. Coming into 3 big breaths here. With every exhale, we're going to do a big sigh. So inhale through your nose, filling up your belly, back and sides of the ribs, all the way up to your collarbone. Big sigh. And again, inhale. And sigh. One more inhale. And sigh everything out. Really nice. Start to blink your eyes open. Okay, starting with our root chakra. So we're going to be coming into a hamstring stretch. So you're going to be extending this right leg, flexing the foot so the feet and the toes are pulling backwards. So you can really feel the calf and the shin activate. Absolutely have a bend in that knee. Now, if you want to take this one step further, grab your thigh, bend forward, folding from the hips, so we don't want a rounded back. And then reach this thigh to the underside of the foot. And you can lean forward, pulling a little bit of tension onto this thigh and making sure that you're leaning forward from the hip joint. So I'll show you from the side. We're going to have our leg out. If you want to wrap, and then we're folding from the hip joint rather than rounding through our back. We want to keep nice and open. Every inhale, think about the tailbone reaching down and the crown of the head reaching further away. Every exhale, maybe you can fold a little bit more, keeping the tailbone grounded. Make sure you're breathing here. Keep pulling that foot back. You might just need to quickly check back in and make sure it's not just the toes you're pulling back, but it's the whole of that foot. Really nice. 3 more deep breaths here. Maybe you can fold a little bit more. Final breath. Inhale nice and slowly with a straight back coming all the way up. Switching over to the other side, extending this left leg, pulling the toes back. Maybe you stay here, maybe you hinge forward a little bit, or if you want to go for it, you can take that thigh around the underneath of that foot and lean forward. Remembering that we have to activate the shin muscles, the calf muscles, the quad muscles to safely lengthen our hamstrings. Lengthening our hamstrings doesn't just help to activate that root chakra, but also helps to work on our posture. Because when our hamstrings are tight, sometimes it can really pull us into an awkward posture, which will affect a lot of different areas of our health and especially our breathing. Okay, 3 more deep breaths. Final breath for me. Inhale, coming all the way up, really nice. Removing that time, coming back into your seat. And we're going to be coming into Warrior 2 now, still on our chair unless you really want to get up. So we're going to be taking our legs either side of the chair. So we're going to be taking the left leg behind and the right leg the other side of the chair. And just so we're sitting more or less on the right bum cheek. So we're really far forward on the chair. We've got the right foot facing directly to the side, and we've got our left foot facing directly towards me, or in my case, directly towards my camera. So I'm thinking about my left hip facing the camera, my right hip is facing the side. Either staying here with your hands onto your hips, or you can extend your arms. And keep thinking about this right knee drawing to the back of the chair rather than forward. So really driving backwards away from me. And working that back leg as much as the front. So really grounding through the back edge of that foot. Shoulders nice and relaxed. Gazing over that front hand. You can always come out of it, have a bit of a shake, and then come back into it. We're going to be staying here for 3 more breaths. Make sure you're working that back leg as much as the front, pulling up this left knee to activate the quads, helping you ground the outside edge of that foot down. Working that inner right thigh to keep the knee backwards. Final inhale. Exhale, release. Really nice. Other side, so facing the left, taking the left foot down, right leg extends, really far forward on this chair, so you've just got that left bum cheek grounded. Left foot is facing directly to the side, right foot is facing the camera, it's facing me. Arms extended, gazing over that left hand, shoulders dropping down. And if you've got this rib cage sticking out, really think about pulling it in and down. I've spoken about the rib cage a lot in our other classes, so if you want a bit of clarity, go back to especially the posture class, that will give you a bit more information. Again, we're working this back leg, really grounding through the outside edge of that right foot. And trying to find a bit of relaxation here. Just settling in, even though our body is doing a lot of work. Thinking about this left knee drawing to the back of the chair rather than falling forward. And just look down, just check that your knee and your ankle on that left foot are either in line or the foot is slightly further forward. 3 more breaths. Final breath. Exhale, release, coming back into your chair. Coming into our sacral chakra now. So we're going to be coming into a goddess squat, but again, modified unless you really want to stand up. So we're going to take both legs out to the side, toes are facing diagonal out to the side. And again, we've just got our bum just on the chair, so it's just taking some of that weight. And we're again thinking about the inner thighs working to take the knees to the back of the chair rather than allowing them to drop forward. And we can really feel everything engaging. We're squeezing our glutes, hands at heart center. If you can't feel this working, then you really need to just check in and just make sure that your glutes are active, your inner thighs are active, because I can feel this. It feels like I'm standing. So just check in that your knees are towards the back, not dropping inwards. The crown of the head is lifting up nice and high. And really work on just connecting with that breath, because a lot of these postures we're going to be holding for probably a little bit longer than you or I want to. So connecting with that breath really helps us to just stay in the present. 3 more breaths here. Working those inner thighs, squeezing the glutes. Final big breath in and out. Coming all the way back, really nice. Okay, we're going to come into mountain pose, whether that's standing or just in your chair. So mountain pose, similar that we were thinking about at the beginning. So we've got our feet flat, our toes are facing straight forward, heels and knees in line. A slight bit of tension in these thighs, so we're not just sitting with our knees dropping out. We've got our knees nice and parallel. Hands down to the side, this time facing me, so facing away from your body. Checking in with that lower back, just making sure that you've got the least amount of curve possible in that lower back, so you're not really sticking out the bum and you're not really slouching. So just check in with that back and just come to the least amount of curve. Checking in that rib cage isn't sticking out. Shoulder blades are maybe slightly pulling towards one another to keep that chest nice and open. Shoulders are dropping down away from the ears. And crown of the head is reaching up high. And maybe you've got your chin slightly tucked in to really elongate the back of the neck. If you're standing, thinking about the knees pulling up to really engage the quads. You can even do it sitting. And maybe you've got your eyes closed to really check in with your body. Just coming into that nice calm breath again. Big inhales through the nose, out through the nose. Just noticing each and every part of your body working. Maybe you're focusing on the count of your breath, or maybe you're tuning into a sound that you can hear close by, helping keep you in the present. Final big inhale, exhale. Now coming into a supported wide leg fold. So I'm going to keep my chair facing to the side. We're going to have our legs wide and our toes are facing slightly inwards towards one another, so pigeon-toed in. And folding from the hips, so sticking our bum out, but then going to place our hands onto the chair, maybe even coming down to the elbows. And you're really thinking about the bum sticking out, nice straight back. Pulling the quads up to help lengthen the hamstrings nice and safely. Thinking about the weight being in the toes rather than back to the heels. Every inhale, think about the crown of the head and the tailbone reaching away from one another. And every exhale, maybe you can fold slightly further down, keeping that chair for support. Tuning back in with your breath. Just making sure that you have got those knees pulled up to help lengthen through the hamstrings. Feeling that space in between the vertebrae growing bigger with every inhale. And this is your last chance to fold a little bit deeper if you can on this exhale. Next inhale, slowly making your way all the way up to standing. Okay, back down in our chair. Working on our belly, our stomach chakra now. We're going to be coming into Kapalbhati, which is a pranayama technique, so breath work. We haven't done this before and it can be a little bit complicated, so don't worry if you don't get it first time. So we're going to be having one hand onto our bellies, one hand onto our heart. On our inhale, we're going to be expanding the belly just for the first round, and then our inhales are automatic. So first inhale, you really fill up your belly. And on the exhale, you're exhaling through your nose, really short and sharp so you can hear it, and your belly will shoot back in towards your spine. And then every inhale after is going to be an automatic reaction to that exhale. We're going to take it nice and slowly to start with. So big inhale to start with, I'll just demonstrate. Exhale. So you can hear the exhale shooting out And this really engages the core as well. So if you're on a day that you want to do some core exercises, but you don't really want to do much, this is perfect. So I'll show you a couple of rounds and then we'll get into it. So I'll do my first inhale and then get into it. So it will make a lot more sense when you get started. We're going to do 10 rounds, so 10 exhales, and that's it. So one hand onto your belly, one hand onto your heart. Start with that inhale. But only inhale we're going to be actively doing is this first one. So inhale through the nose, exhale, and then continue for 10 more times. Take your time, get there when you can. Once you finish your 10, then we'll move on. Continuing to work on our belly chakra, we're going to be coming into our boat pose. Now, this is hard even though we're on a chair, so don't be fooled and really make sure that you're working. I'll show you again from the side. So we're going to be coming with one leg up and then the other leg up, whether you want pointed toes, flexed feet, doesn't really matter. But what you need to think about is keeping lifted within your spine. So as soon as you start to round, that probably means you're getting a bit tired, your hip flexors are getting a bit tired. Take a break, come back into it. If you want to dial it up, have your leg straight and lift it up, because that's a lot more weight away from the body, so you're going to have to work a bit harder. So we're going to be holding one leg up for 3 seconds, putting it down, and then the other leg, and then, like I said, go into straight legs if you want as well. I like to put my hands onto my midriff, like just on my waist, because that helps me start to feel when I'm starting to sink down rather than really thinking about my crown lifting. Okay, let's get started. So keep one leg flat on the, so keep one foot flat on the ground, lift up one leg, really feel this working in your core. Make sure you're breathing, because your core doesn't work if you're not breathing. 3 seconds and down. Other leg lifting. Tune in with your breath and down and up. Even if you can just lift your leg off a little bit, you're still going to be doing work. Remember what I said at the beginning, working towards your limitations rather than with your ego. Okay, I'm going to extend my leg now. Make sure you're not holding that breath. Check in with yourself, make sure that you're sitting up nice and tall, the crown of the head is reaching, tailbone is long. And you might feel those hip flexors, so just in those hip creases, really activating as well, because yes, this is a core specifically, but it does target the hip flexors, which are kind of part of our extended core as well. Okay, we're going to do 4 more. This is the 4th. 3rd. 2nd. And the last one. Okay, and down, coming, just really big stretch, reaching the hands up high. Exhale, hands all the way down. So we're going to come to a stop now for part 1, and we're going to be following on into part 2, working on our other chakras. We worked on our root, our sacral, and our solar plexus, so our belly. And then we're going to be finishing the next 4 in part 2, so make sure you check in with that one as well. Let's just have a few breaths here just to work our way out of our class. Hands onto your thighs, palms facing up, closing down your eyes. Again, exactly like at the start, we've got our feet grounded. Crown of the head high, tailbone grounded. And when you're ready to come to the end of the class, Hands to heart center. Bow the chin to the chest, thumbs just in between your eyebrows. Really good job for showing up. And make sure you check into next time, our part 2 on working on our chakras, focusing on obesity. When you're ready, take the hands away from the eyes and blink the eyes open.